Hi, I'm Victoria. I'm a social media contributor at Core, and welcome to our YouTube channel. We'll start off with a series of educational videos as per your request on Twitter. Today we'll discuss everything Web3 related. We'll get to the very beginnings of it, and we'll end up looking at disadvantages and advantages of Web3. Blockchains, cryptocurrencies, dApps, DAOs, NFTs, similar technologies are all part of the broader Web3 phenomenon. It makes sense. We will discuss what is Web3 and why it actually matters. The most obvious way to do this is by first distinguishing Web3 from Web 2 and Web 1. So what is Web 1? The first version of the web is sometimes called the read-only web and was predominantly centered around a producer-consumer model. People would create simple web page containing facts, informations and other kinds of content, and users would visit those web pages whenever they needed. After Web 1 was Web 2. Web 2 is the version of the internet that most of us are familiar with today. Web 2 was far more interactive than Web 1, and for this reason is commonly referred to as the participative social web. Thriving forums, comment sections, social networks and other internet-based means by which people network with each other fall under Web 2. So what is Web 3? At a high level, Web 3 is the evolution of the internet. It is a user-centric, decentralized web oriented towards empowering individuals and reshaping how we interact online. These are big claims, so let's dive into the specifics of Web 3. What are the key components of Web 3? There are several elements that make Web 3 distinct, but the ones we'll focus on today are decentralization, blockchain, smart contracts and dApps, and data sovereignty. Decentralization. Web3 applications and services use a distributed approach which removes the need for a central authority. Bitcoin, to take a prominent example, allows for the exchange of value without a bank sitting in the middle and settling transactions. Most of what's being built on Web3 endorses this ethos. Next is blockchain technology. The decentralization of Web3 is made possible by blockchain. To put it briefly, blockchains are immutable distributed ledgers that establish a peer-to-peer network able to manage and validate data, such as who sent money to who. We have an entire lesson on the blockchain that goes into more detail about how this works. Next key component is smart contracts and dApps. Smart contracts are digital agreements that are executed automatically when specific conditions are met. Decentralized applications, known as dApps, are the combination of one or more smart contracts into useful application or protocol running on a decentralized network. As with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, smart contracts and dApps are innovations that are only possible with the blockchain. And like Bitcoin, they remove the need for trusted intermediary. So rather than assigning a contract that has to be enforced by a legal court, which, by the way, may be biased or corrupt, you can sign a smart contract that is enforced by an underlying code. Last key component of Web3 is data ownership and privacy. With Web3, users can have complete sovereignty. For example, complete ownership and control of their data, including who can access, how long they can access, and what they use it for. To be sure, some users still choose to do that, but there's been a cultural shift towards more careful about what one shares online. People are just more careful to tag their location because that could make it easier for others to find them, for example. Part of this shift has been the growing realization that data is incredibly valuable and is indeed one of the main ways platforms like Facebook make their money. Today, people have become more interested in maintaining ownership of the data they create, either because they want to share a revenue it generates or because they want to know who is using it and for what. All of this is baked into foundations of Web3. What are the real-world implications? Web3 has already transformed many parts of digital life and is poised to transform many others. Next, we'll walk through some concrete examples to help you form a picture of what this technology will mean in the years ahead. First is digital identity and privacy. So self-sovereign identities, known as SSIs, are a new way of ensuring that given person's identity is under their sole control. Then there's content creation and ownership. Non-fungible tokens, known as NFTs, allow artists to keep ownership and control over their creative work, removing traditional intermediaries and gatekeepers like record labels. E-commerce and micropayments. Cryptocurrencies make for cheaper and faster money transfer, and their decentralized nature protects them from collapse at a single point of failure. This means fast becoming possible to pay tiny fractions of cryptocurrency, perhaps as little as a few hundredths of a penny, in a seamless, instantaneous online transaction. With micropayments, you might compensate your favorite podcaster for each minute of an episode you stream, or charge a minuscule amount for someone to send you an email, so making large-scale spam much less profitable. What are the advantages and challenges? As with any technology, Web3 comes with both advantages and disadvantages. The advantages include many of the subjects we've already discussed: data ownership, enhanced privacy, improved security, decentralization, and much greater user control. For all this, there are still obstacles to overcome. Web3 still suffers from scalability issues, as current generation blockchains can only accommodate so many transactions per second. There is still a major learning curve involved in setting up a wallet, making on-chain transactions, or storing private keys. Many are still worried that the regulatory environment might turn against crypto. And of course, there is the ever-present potential for misuse. Nevertheless, Web3 is a remarkable opportunity to change how we create and interact with another. So there you have it. Web3 is definitely the next great step in the evolution of internet, relying on blockchain technology to create digital spaces that are more decentralized, more user-centric, and open to vast new possibilities. Stay tuned for the next lesson to learn more about Web3 and the blockchain technology.